Charlie, CEO of Rhode Company, purchased the house. He chose to live in a small section in the back and allow the remainder of the home to be open to the public. That was until 7 years ago when he went bankrupt and was forced to sell the house. The house was sold at public auction. It was purchased by a publishing executive from New York City for $8 million. He's currently redone the entire home. He keeps it as a summer house for himself. And then this lighthouse-looking structure at the edge of the property is actually the guest house terrace from the farm.
down the outside and it's really beautiful.
What's this?
Fort Adams, that's what we're in. The large stone structure off to your right-hand side is called Fort Adams, named after President Adams. The original fort was a smaller wooden structure built in the early 1700s, although it was replaced with the one you see here. Now, construction began on this just after the War of 1812, though it wasn't completed until 1857. That's because much of the stone used as granite was brought down from Vermont, and as road traffic wasn't as prevalent as it is today, it was brought down by barge through the ocean, and that took quite a number of years. This fort is actually the third largest enclosed wall fort in the country, beaten by one in Newport, Virginia, and another off the Keys of Florida. This fort can accommodate 462 cannons and about 1,200 officers and men. Those cannons are said to have a range that could drive a cannonball over on the shores of Jamestown, although this was never proven, as the fort never fired a single shot in defense of our country. It was decommissioned in the 1950s and turned over to the state. It's now opened up as a state park, and you can enjoy daily tours of its many underground tunnels and bunkers. In addition, the fort is also host to numerous festivals which take place here in Newport, the two most prominent being the Newport Folk Festival and the JVC Jazz Festival. And those are held the first 2 weekends of August, and they take place right on this front lawn. Now, while it's true that this fort never fired a single shot in defense of our country, there was actually one shot fired from here. On a Saturday evening, a bunch of naval officers went into the city of Newport. They visited a bunch of our local taverns. They got a little too intoxicated and a little too unruly, so they were detained by the Newport police. They were brought into the city hall and were held overnight. And then they were released the next morning. They returned to the fort. One of those officers was a bit perturbed with the situation, so he climbed to the top of the tower of the fort actually and loaded a cannon. He took aim at the city. If you look off to your left, you might be able to see that gold dome tower over the condominiums of Rhode Island. This is the Newport City Hall. He shot and hit that building. It's a 1.5-mile distance, so we realized our cannons had quite a range. Luckily, only slight structural damage occurred to the building, although the officer did destroy his career as he was released shortly thereafter.
Good job.
Now, if any of you have any interest in the history of yachting or the America's Cup races, especially the boats that raced and won here out of Newport, the Museum of Yachting off to your left off to your right is an informative place to visit. There's a lot of displays and exhibits of boats here. Now, one of the boats that you may see or read about is actually coming up on your left. It's called the Courageous. It's the America's Cup 12-meter, US 26. The Courageous has the distinction of being one of only 2 boats ever to win the America's Cup races 2 consecutive years. The one in 1974 and again in 1977. When it won in 77, it was skippered by Ted Turner. And the only other boat to accomplish this feat was the Intrepid. She won in 67 and 70. The Intrepid is usually in our harbor, usually over docked by the Long Wharf area. We hold about 9 to 12 meters here year-round. All of these can be chartered out, as you've seen. There have been quite a few out in that bay today. I'll point out a few that we've seen. Any of the other ones that are docked or moored, I will point out to you. They're not around today. It is because they probably have been chartered out by a group or a company, or they could be participating in a race in either here in the bay or down in the Cape Cod. And we've now entered into the area of water known as Brenton Cove. Brenton Cove was named after William Brenton, one of the founding fathers of Newport back in 1639. In this cove, there is the remainder of the fort. There's also the rest of the naval housing, which is located here at Fort Adams. There's also a tiny beach, which is tucked into the lower right-hand corner. It's Fort Adams State Beach. It's a state-run public beach. There are also 4 large estates here in the cove. They'll be coming up on our right-hand side as we begin to make the turn, so I'll be speaking about them shortly. Rock was built in 1891 for Edwin Morgan, the brother of J.P. Morgan. It's later owned by Felix de Walden, a well-known artist and sculptor, best known for his piece, The Flag Raising at Iwo Jima, which is on display in Arlington National Cemetery. About 4 years ago, the house was purchased by a Rhode Island personal injury attorney for $4 million. And he's currently spent the last 4 years putting another $4 million into the redesign of the landscape and interior of the home. Another castle-like house on your right is called Beachbound. Beachbound was home to the Ripley family. They made their money in the manufacturing of railroad locomotives. It's later owned by the Coates and Clark family. They were big in the thread mill industry and owned quite a few mills across Europe and America. They later sold the house, and in 1960, Beachbound became the second house in Newport to be turned into condominiums. Then the little stone house down at the water's edge, that's the boathouse for Arthur Curtis James. Mr. James owned one of the largest estates in Newport, just across the street from these homes on Harrison Ave. With this house came this boathouse and waterfront access, although he had no way to get to the boathouse except through the water. So he soon persuaded his neighbors to sell him a small parcel of land. He blasted a 1-mile length road into the land that stretched from Harrison Ave down to the boathouse. Now on the first trip down, the chauffeur found that there wasn't enough room for the car to turn around, so he had a back that distance out to the main road. After quite a few fender benders, Mr. James decided he needed a more profitable solution. So he installed a turnstile into the top of that boathouse, and that was so his driver could drive in, flick a switch, and drive out the proper way. And then the large house with many chimneys on your right is called Bonnie Crest. Bonnie Crest is home to Stuart Duncan and his family. And Mr. Duncan was the owner of Lee and Parent's Worcestershire sauce. Now instead, if you look closely, each of those 12 chimneys on top of the roof, they're actually modeled after an original model of Lee and Parent's. The Duncan family later hired the Olmsted brothers to design the landscape for their home. These are the men who designed New York Central Park and Boston's Back Bay section. When the Duncans passed away, they left the house to their son. He had made a fortune of his own and decided he didn't want his parents' leftovers. So he sold the house. It has since been turned into condominiums. 2 summers ago, one of those condos was for sale. It was a 2-bedroom, 5-room floor plan, used for the grounds parking and pool, and it went for $1.2 million. The last of the large estates in the cove is off to your right with the green and white awning. This is called Harbor Court. Harbor Court was home to the Brown family. The Browns made their money in the early 1700s with the shipping and triangular trades. They moved to Newport in the late 1700s, and over the years were quite instrumental in the founding and funding of much of the Newport community, as well as founding Brown University, which is located in Providence, Rhode Island. The last of the major Brown family members passed away, the wife of Commodore John Nicholas Brown, in 1987. The house was sold. It was purchased by the New York Yacht Club, and it's now kept as their summer headquarters. That large mast, which is serving as a flagpole, that's actually the original mast to the boat the America. The America was the fishing vessel that went over to England in 1851 and entered into the British sailing races. Not only did it win, but it beat the British boat by 2 hours, and then proceeded to bring the race and the trophy back to the United States, and that was the birth of the America's Cup. On October 25th, 1911, and she's buried on Farewell Street in Newport. Then if you look out towards the Newport may be able to see a stone pyramid statue. This is the statue of General Rochambeau. This was the French general that sailed into Newport Harbor in 1779. He helped to liberate Newport, which had been suffering from British oppression and a British blockade of the bay since 1776. He then sailed down to New York City, where he joined up with General George Washington, and together they made their way down the East Coast. Now, this occupation by the British actually stifled much of the Newport economy. At one time, we were one of the 5 largest harbors on the East Coast. That was next to Washington, New York, Boston, and Charleston. Although we can thank the British for this occupation, because of the stifled economy, instead of large skyscrapers now dominating our harbor front, we have tall yachts and sailboats instead. We've now entered back into Newport Harbor. We'll be making our way through these maze of sailboats towards the downtown waterfront area. As we do, you can notice we do hold quite a few boats out here in our harbor. When we're filled to capacity, almost any weekend in the summer, we can hold about 2,000 boats out here on mooring. We can hold another 1,000 on our dock side.
Yeah, that one's got the Ed, I think you're happy. Are you enjoying your tour?
Yeah.
Good. Ricky, W-I-N-D.
Looking at you girls,
Good place to be. Where can we go?
Scales and shells I've been shifting with. I'm not, but a lot of the seafood, I know, and how bad is that? A lot of the seafood places have like lobster meals, but a lot of the restaurants have specials as well. The Red Parrot might do it. I know, I heard Savannah Doyle's is pretty good. Christie's, I think, just does dinners, but they might have it. Yeah, it's only if you keep walking like past the Red Parrot and you walk down Main Street in this direction, it's like right around this area down here. Right, like where the Keys Spring here. It's up on the right. Very good. They're playing Patterson.
Whitney, is Scales and Shells over there south?
Yes. Yep. On the other side of the street too, but I'd say maybe 10 more blocks. And it's blue. The large brown steeple off to your right is part of St. Mary's Church. St. Mary's Church is the oldest Catholic parish in Rhode Island, built in 1848 by the Irish immigrants brought over to build Fort Adams. It's also the site of John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline Bouvier's wedding, September 12, 1953. St. Mary's Church is located on Spring Street in Newport, and it is open for daily worshiping services. And we're now running parallel to Thames Street and America's Cup Ave. This is kind of the heart and strip of Newport. There's a lot of shops, boutiques, and restaurants down here. If you have a spare afternoon or even just a few hours, you can make for a nice little walk down here. Many of the restaurants also have outside dining, so you can enjoy a nice meal and some nice land views of the harbor. The large white steeple with the black face clock off to your right is called Trinity Church. Trinity Church is the oldest Episcopal church in the country and hasn't missed a Sunday worship since it opened in 1726. Among its more famous worshipers were George Washington and Queen Elizabeth II, and Trinity Church was also used in the filming of Amistad by Steven Spielberg in 1997. And Newport is also home to one of the country's oldest houses, another oldest house of worship. This is Truro Synagogue, the oldest Jewish synagogue in the country. It's located on Truro Street in Newport. Trinity Church is located on Spring Street. Both are open for services as well as have tiny museums which can be viewed by the public. Pirates Point, got the nickname Pirates Point in the early 1700s when a pirate ship was caught off the coast of Newport. 39 of the crew members were taken here where they were convicted, tried, and hung on acts of piracy in just 1 hour's time. Their bodies were then taken to the shores of Goat Island where they were buried between the high and low tide marks. When this was done, it was said so their souls would never be at peace. Now that may be true because ever since then we have had quite a few ghost sightings along Newport's waterfront. Although many of these sightings do occur around 1 in the morning, the same time that our bars let out, so we take them with a grain of salt. Nevertheless, to combat these ghosts, we were the first city in the country to install city street lights, and it was on Pelham Street in downtown Newport back in 1806. And then lucky for us, the wind's blowing in the opposite direction because we are approaching the state fishing pier. Now if you had a cold or sinus trouble, this would actually clear out your sinuses better than Claritin. And that's because it's home to the local and commercial fishermen and lobstermen of Newport. Now, this is our second largest industry in the city, so we do have quite a few boats. Most of them hang around the bay and the harbor, although we do have a few deep-sea fishing vessels, which can be off the coast for up to 8 days. And just beyond that is the Newport Shipyard, the last working shipyard in the city. At one time, our entire downtown area was filled with shipyards and fishing piers. That was until the city found it more profitable to have restaurants and shops down there. Now with the state pier and shipyard, we are wrapping up our tour of Newport Harbor in Narragansett Bay. I just have to ask that for your safety, everyone has a seat throughout our docking process, and the captain or crew member will tell you when it's safe to go ashore. On behalf of myself and the rest of the crew, I'd like to thank you for touring with us today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your stay.
I can't make a left here. We came out the entrance instead of the exit. I think I'm supposed to go left here.
Yes, I do too. You're right in the traffic.
I know I am. I'm going to wait because the light just changed. That would be wherever we were supposed to come out.
No, that's the exit from the interstate. Run back and forth.
This may be a term, I'm not sure. What's the name of
No, I can't see the intersections.
it? Okay.
Hillside.
Okay. We're on Admiral somebody's road, which is probably not.
Then you better decide before you wander off in the east. No sighing. Make up your mind.
I shouldn't have come out that way.
Well, you did.
Okay, we want 114 north?
North is left.
Right. Because it should say on there whether I should be on 114 north or south. I think I need to go the other way.
I think you should make up your mind now. And pull
What
it
does
somewhere.
this say on the map?
Route 114, Main Road,
North or south?
West Main. It doesn't say. This is Route 114. And it is north. Because here's the little compass rose over
I know, but do I want to be going north? That's what I want.
there. Yes, dear.
Does it say 114 north on the map?
No, it doesn't, but the north indicator is over here.
I'd stay home and cook on the ice cream social at the condo.
You're looking for the intersection of East Main Road 138. Where you will turn right. That means it has electronic ignition, which gives you a little shot of gas.
Mm-hmm. And the truck is the same. Down here, there's a vision center. I'm going to veer off to the right. She said, I'll type you up some directions. I said, I have my map. It's vision 138 Rhode Island.
Yeah, okay, that's over here. No, that's just a shitty old...
Jesus Christ, there's the turn.
Yeah,
I can't even do an EVA.
she can right here.
I can't back up. There's
Well,
cars
don't do
behind
that.
me.
Just turn when you get here.
Okay. I thought that was the mall entrance.
Well,
It is a shitty little town. If it weren't for the ships in the harbor.
we're not in Newport. We're in the
I know
suburb.
we're not. We're in Middleton.
No police in St. Chester.
So this car takes around the corner. Goes down. Yes. There's a wall. There's for your journal, Teddy. There's probably everything in here. Or,
I've seen citizens' bikes all over the place here.
oh my God. Another Starbucks. And they only go in certain areas. Okay, now we stay on 138 until
30 until...
you'll have to read me the instructions.
There aren't any instructions.
Hey, what?
138 to
Good.
Newport Vineyards, Fenouli's Bakery, Watercolors, and Newport Airport, Valley Road. Then I don't know.
Read me any directions after 138.
I don't have them.
Directions to Glen Ave.
See.
There's also a
Bear Raider to 138 East. You will pass Shaw's Supermarket and the Christmas tree store. Follow for 4 or 5 miles until you pass the State Police Barracks on your
Really
left-hand
close.
side. 1/4 mile past the barracks, on your right you will see a sign for the Glen Manor House. If you pass the Sunoco station, you have gone too far.
And there's directions from Boston and from
I don't think that we're far from Hammersmith Farm. If you see signs for it, I'd like to drive it and look at it. Jackie Kennedy's farm.
Isn't it in Newport?
I think it's over here on this side of the bay. It came out of Newport Harbor, went wide, and then went left. Which takes us over to this next land, I think.
It's not that you used to do one.
Linford Road. No through traffic. Okay, well, we won't do
I don't see it listed in the index. Oh, advertisers index.
that. Mm-hmm. There's horses. Lots and lots of horses. See them, Ted? There's the barn. You want me to look?
Doc would have made a good horse since he's so
Look
wild.
at the map, so it may be on.
You are smooth. Just as slick.
Quality Park Place. This is where we had dinner. This is where we were last night.
That's it.
Ben's chili dogs.
Dance Africaine.
There's the restaurant right there
Yeah.
for dinner. So you tell me what
She's
to
in
turn.
there.
Here's the police.
She's in there perfecting her vanilla
You got to show me the way back, baby.
way back. I don't know
To the harbor.
Then keep going downhill.
I am.
Bearing right, you come up.
Thames Street Visitor Center.
That's insane. Thames Street waterfront. So.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Straight. Wee! I hope you like that right turn, buddy. Washington Square Historic District. Vintage Revival. We went by that last night. This is Farewell.
great.
How we doing, Ted?
Good.
You like this little town?
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know about. It's a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live here.
There's a parking place down that street. Alright. Is this where I want to turn? This is the shopping district. Can we drive down the shopping district?
No, if you want to, yes, go ahead.
Thank you. I think it could be sort of fun.
Well, then do it.
You may be able to get your t-shirt. Yes, I did.
This was the moment I've been
No.
dreading for the past
Oh,
6
I did.
months.
You're right. I just saw the banana
Past
Republic.
8 months.
It drew you like a magnet.
Well, actually, for the past 4 years. Couldn't believe Lindsay. She was totally
What
missing
street? What's
this.
the name of this street?
I don't know.
Very on Harris Lake.
Thames Street. Teens. Museum
Only
of
had to think about
Newport
the part I had to split the wedding.
This is the fancy store district.
Was
Well,
it?
then you can
Does the Reverend say
fancy
it's
Stitch
me?
stores, even you see.
Do I say that's me or I do?
Ted, if you see any place you want to go, this is the time to say it because tomorrow we'll be getting ready to go home.
Alright.
So, if you want to park and
What
walk,
park? There's a parking space right there. Never
Say
mind.
that's me or thanks. It says who's this woman? This woman. sure that once he acts too much like a kid. I don't know about Andy either.
A body shop, souvenir. And
All again was is probably never gonna see Andy or Lindsay ever again. And we're seeing the breakfast till the
pleasant
night on
surprise.
socks.
Oh, isn't this a pleasant surprise?
And then there was a sign.
Tiny glass clocks.
Lindsay and I were all grown up, being independent. Something inside began to hurt.
Calamity Jane.
Hey, see what it is when we go by. Smoky topaz. This is Spring Street. Do we want to go straight? I guess I have to go straight or left. Oh, go straight.
Oh shit, the one down here is over one way the other way.
We will find a place to park. It's not that easy to get to Black Duck Inn. Parking $10. Oh shoot, I was so hoping.
There's a room beside that.
Yep. There's a meter there.
This is one way the other way. You can't.
I'm not going. I'm going right here.
Okay. You do not. Well, you are gonna make it.
You know what? I'm gonna make it if nobody.
Nobody's talking to you the way he wants to speak to you.
If I don't hit it with my wheel, I'll make it. Is that my wheel on it?
No.
I didn't do that.
Well, you did.
It was. I wanted to go over this way. I don't know how. She got caught.
What are you doing with that? Black so I can.
Okay. I love it.
I never put a ball there.
I don't know what the hell
Where's Mom?
Sit there looking for shoes.
Like I said,
Back here, just the hotel. We can back ahead. I'm trying to catch up to you. You're walking away from me. Oh, okay.
I just pointed out the music. Come on.
Dog park. Take a picture of that dog park.
Where?
That little sign. Take it with nobody walking in front of it. You see what it is?
Yeah.
Color.
Yep, she's not up her.
Cookies. Cookies. Cute doggy.
Mike became
Hurry up, wait for the rest of us. You guys see more like this, and this is a guy dunking himself, or deep sixing himself.
We're going down here to park it up and bring down this.
I'll be on
Do you want me to walk you to the bench?
No.
Okay. Okay, come on, let's go pig. You have the pig?
Yeah. Down here further is what I wanted to see.
I know.
Never worried about that.
This is the other shop.
Right. I'll take pictures. That's Christy's son.
Okay.
Beef fudge kettle. Maybe they become a chain or something.
I think there's some sort of a chain. Now, we can walk over here. I think it's easy. Ben and Jerry's. I didn't walk past you.
And Jerry's.
What's that over here? Teddy, we didn't pass the armory, did we? No. Okay.
Is that it up there?
Where? Does it say armory on it?
Can't tell.
Okay. Nice and This might be it. What is this? Here. Yeah, they have public restrooms. This is watch Lady Rhode. This is where we.
David? David?
I think they're moving back to Del
I knew a bunch of kids who were in there. She wanted to.
Right.
She'll be fine.
That would be fun.
No, I don't think that's what it is. I know. The best part of it all, of course, is that she's fuming over here. What does she tell me?
Much better than usual.
Her parents are here. Her parents are nuts.